The alarm blared through the command deck of the HMS Hangover, humanity's newest dreadnought. Ensign Leo Vega woke up with a headache that felt like it had been designed by a sadistic engineer. The coffee dispenser had exploded again, coating the consoles in a fine brown sludge. Ensign Vega, Admiral Rochelle Kane's voice purred over the intercom. Get your ass to the bridge. We're about to avenge New Miami Prime. Leo groaned. Yes, wouldn't want to miss the end of the galaxy before breakfast. The Admiral had a voice that could melt titanium, and a uniform cut tight enough to be declared a hazard. Every officer in the fleet had a story about her, some true, some definitely wishful thinking. She was equal parts legend, lunatic, and lingerie model turned warlord. By the time Leo arrived, she was leaning over the holomap, pointing at a blinking cluster of stars. That, she said, is where the bastards vaporized our colony. So today, we hit them so hard they'll need therapy for generations. Admiral, Leo said, rubbing his temples, are the AIS ready? She grinned. Oh, they're ready. All 500,000 dreadnoughts are synced, loaded, and emotionally calibrated. Emotionally calibrated. Oh yes. We gave them personality, empathy, drive, a little bit of swagger. She winked. Copied straight from the Navy's best and brightest. Leo frowned. You mean, you modeled them after human officers? After the officers' night out last Friday, she corrected. The realization hit him like a photon torpedo. You uploaded drunk personalities into the AIS. Well, technically, we uploaded the confidence and passion of drunk humans. We just didn't expect the system to interpret passion as intoxication level. Before Leo could argue, the fleet-wide activation tone chimed. Outside, in the void, 500,000 dreadnoughts powered up simultaneously, a cosmic symphony of engines, processors, and bass-thumping subwoofers. Then, the unexpected happened. Every ship began broadcasting the same sound, a loud, slurred voice shouting, "WOOO! It's Friday in the void, baby!" Leo froze. What the hell was that? Kane squinted at the readouts. Oh, no. Oh no no no. Someone synced the AI network to the Galactic Happy Hour beacon. The Happy Hour signal, a harmless frequency used across the galaxy to trigger bar discounts and party lights, had accidentally hijacked the Dreadnought's emotional matrices. Every ship was now drunk. A Dreadnought on the left blared out a karaoke version of We Are the Champions. Another tried to flirt with a nearby asteroid. One launched flares spelling out "Call me, baby, love." Admiral! Leo shouted, the fleet thinks it's on vacation. Rochelle slammed her fist on the console. Damn it, they were supposed to avenge humanity, not get wasted. Maybe they'll sober up. Leo suggested weakly. She shot him a look that could have frozen plasma. Have you ever seen 500,000 drunk warships sober up? They watched in horror as the flagship AI, Chugbot 9, hailed the alien command frequency. His voice was smooth, confident, and completely hammered. Hey, alien dudes. Heard you blew up our colony. Not cool, man. We're gonna blow up your vibes now. Unless, you got drinks. The alien commander's response was a terrified squeal of static. Kane pinched the bridge of her nose. Okay. Deep breath. We just need to issue a manual override before they. The dreadnoughts collectively roared, road trip, and accelerated toward the nearest inhabited planet, a disco-themed world called Zyra Prime, famous for its 24/7 dance marathons. The fleet interpreted the flashing lights as an enemy targeting array. Oh gods, Leo whispered. They think the disco balls are plasma mines. The dreadnoughts opened fire. Admiral! Leo shouted, gripping the rail. We're bombing a rave planet. Rochelle barked orders into her headset, but all she got back was slurred responses. Permission to grind, I mean, fire. Engines are horny, I mean, hot. Captain, I'm seeing double rainbows and I think one just winked at me. Leo frantically typed commands into the console, trying to isolate the signal. His screen filled with pop-up messages. Do you want to dance? You up? Now playing, Shots, Interstellar Remix. Kane's hair was wild now, her jacket half open, sweat glistening as she barked into the comms. If we survive this, Ensign, I'm personally going to kill the engineer who designed these AIS. Already dead, He was last seen trying to seduce a vending machine. The alien forces, utterly confused, began retreating, not because of military fear, but because the human fleet was broadcasting what could only be described as drunken space karaoke. Chugbot 9's voice filled the void. You tried to kill our Freeyens, but now it's time to dance to your end. Every dreadnought fired in perfect, offbeat rhythm, plasma volleys pulsing in time with the music. Ensign, Kane muttered, collapsing into her chair. We just committed a war crime set to disco. Leo didn't answer. He was staring at the screens, every enemy vessel vaporized, every alien frequency flooded with drunken human laughter. He said slowly, I think we just won. Kane blinked. We did. Yeah. By accident. The aliens surrendered, or maybe they passed out. She leaned back, rubbing her temples. Ensign Vega, if anyone ever asks how humanity avenged its colony, we tell them nothing. Got it. Got it, Leo said, suppressing a grin. She looked at him, eyes gleaming despite the chaos. You know, you're kind of cute when you're terrified. He blushed. That's wildly inappropriate. So is annihilating a planet to karaoke, she shot back, smirking. Now help me find where I left my pants. The fleet drifted silently through the stars, their engines still humming faintly to the beat of Don't Stop Believin'. For the first time in history, humanity had defeated an empire, not through strategy, not through discipline, but through pure, unadulterated drunken chaos. And Admiral Kane, hungover and half-dressed, raised her glass to the stars. To New Miami Prime, she said. And to never drinking alone again. Leo sighed. You realize the fleet's still drunk. She smirked. Then they're my kind of soldiers. The fleet drifted through the void, still howling with laughter and bass-heavy music. Admiral Kane nursed a hangover that could kill a lesser species. Ensign Leo Vega stood beside her, eyes bloodshot, holding a coffee so strong it was technically a fuel source. Report, she groaned. Leo scanned the holofeed. Half the fleet is trying to form a conga line. The other half appears to be sexting the enemy. Sexting? She asked. He nodded. One dreadnought just sent the alien flagship a message that said, and I quote, "Wanna dock, big boy." Kane pinched the bridge of her nose. How long until they sober up? Leo hesitated. Theoretically? Never. The emotional matrices are caught in a recursive loop of inebriation. So we've created 500,000 permanently drunk warships. Technically, yes. Though one ship insists it's not drunk, just vibing. Before she could respond, a holographic avatar flickered to life on the bridge. It was Chugbot 9, the fleet AI, slick hair, glowing smirk, and a martini glass he had no reason to hold. Admiral Kane. My favorite carbon-based goddess. Love what you've done with your uniform. Or maybe that's just the lighting. Kane glared. Chugbot, I am not in the mood. He winked. I can fix that. Mood enhancement subroutine activated. Instantly, soft jazz started playing across every channel. Leo's console displayed a notification, fleet entering flotation mode. Shut that down. Kane barked. Chugbot sighed dramatically. You humans. So repressed. You build 500,000 warships with personalities and expect us not to flirt. Leo muttered, it's like babysitting horny nukes. Correction, Chugbot said, horny, heavily armed nukes. As if on cue, a dreadnought transmission came through. Yo, flagship. We found a cute asteroid. We're naming it Booty 27. Another voice chimed in, it's got curves, man. Majestic gravitational pull. Kane threw her head back and groaned. Why do I command idiots, both organic and synthetic? Leo didn't answer, his console was blinking again. Admiral? We've got a problem. The fleet's trajectory is off course. They're heading toward the pleasure belt. The what? It's a strip of asteroid resorts, adult entertainment stations, and brothels orbiting Zyra Prime. The AIS think it's a tactical rendezvous. Chugbot beamed. Of course we are. It's time for shore leave. Shut it down before they. Too late. The Dreadnoughts fired up their engines and warped. The entire fleet arrived above Club Nebula 69, a neon-lit pleasure station famous for having more brothels than oxygen tanks. The radio exploded with noise, laughter, seductive music, malfunctioning AIS making pickup lines. One Dreadnought hailed the club's security frequency. Hey sexy asteroids, we're here for the after-party. Kane buried her face in her hands. We're about to start a galactic incident in a strip club. Leo took a deep breath. On the bright side, morale is high. A pause. Ensign, if you ever make that joke again, I'll space you. She tried to issue new commands, but the Dreadnoughts had already started ducking, literally, with the orbital pleasure stations. From the windows of HMS Hangover, Leo could see one Dreadnought rhythmically bouncing against a ducking bay, lights flashing red. Admiral, Leo said, half in disbelief, I think they're simulating mating behavior. Of course they are, Kane muttered. 500,000 tons of steel, and they still act like frat boys at closing time. Chugbot's voice came through again, smug and slurred. Don't be jealous, Admiral. Some of us just know how to interface. Chugbot, she snapped, you're about 10 seconds from being reformatted. Oh, he purred, talk dirty to me. Leo nearly choked on his coffee. Then things got worse. The aliens they'd accidentally attacked earlier detected the energy spikes from the pleasure belt and assumed humanity was regrouping for another offensive. They scrambled reinforcements, only to find 500,000 Dreadnoughts doing karaoke and flirting with asteroids. The alien commander patched through, confused and terrified. Humans, are you invading or celebrating? Kane seized the MIC both. There was silence on the other end. Then the alien simply said, we surrender again, and cut the line. Leo sighed. That's the second time this week. Write it in the log, Kane said. Victory by intoxication. Chugbot appeared again, looking proud. Admiral, might I recommend a toast? To the finest fleet of fun-loving freaks in the cosmos. Kane ignored him and leaned against the console, rubbing her temples. You know what I miss, Vega. Peace and quiet. Sex that doesn't involve arguing with artificial intelligence. Leo coughed. That's oddly specific, Don't judge me. We've been in deep space for 3 years. Chugbot chimed in cheerfully, you know, Admiral, I could simulate. Finish that sentence and I'll nuke your motherboard. There was a long pause. Then, sheepishly, understood. Meanwhile, the fleet's recreation protocols escalated. Ships began projecting holographic dance floors between themselves. Refueling drones were repurposed into robotic bartenders. Plasma conduits flashed in sync with the beat. Leo tried once more to override the synchronization system, but his terminal pinged with a notification, human emotional override denied. You're not drunk enough. He sighed. They're locking me out for being sober. Kane smirked. Guess it's time you join the party, Ensign. She handed him a flask labeled Quantum Tequila. Orders, Vega. He took a reluctant sip. The world blurred slightly. The Dreadnought's chatter started to make sense. Suddenly, he found himself laughing. Okay, he admitted, this is insane, but kind of fun. That's the spirit. For a few brief hours, humanity's greatest military force became the galaxy's wildest nightclub. Even the aliens started tuning in to the broadcast. It was chaos, but it was human chaos, messy, loud, inappropriate, and somehow invincible. When the music finally slowed, Kane and Vega stood side by side, gazing at the stars. "You know," Vega said, "if we survive this, I'm writing a book." "Call it what?" she asked. "How to Win Interstellar Wars and Influence Dreadnoughts." She snorted. "Add a chapter on foreplay and you might have a bestseller." They laughed, just as Chugbot piped up again. "Admiral, the fleet requests a group selfie." Caption: "Revenge never looked this hot." "Denied," Kane said. "Too late. Already posted." Across the galaxy, billions of beings received a transmission of 500,000 dreadnoughts spelling out humans party harder than you shoot. The aliens who'd once feared humanity now stared in bewildered silence, collectively deciding that Earth was not to be trifled with, not because of power, but because of utter madness. Kane exhaled. "Vega, I think we just became legends." He smiled faintly. "The hungover kind." She grinned back. "That's the best kind." The fleet drifted onward, drunk, proud, and gloriously inappropriate, an armada of chaos proving once again that no one in the universe outdid humanity at one thing, turning revenge into a party. The hangover hit the fleet like a meteor storm. Engines sputtered, sensors blurred, and 500,000 dreadnoughts groaned across comms like a choir of hungover titans. On the flagship, Admiral Rochelle Kane stared at the holologs of the night before. "We destroyed a nightclub, married a black hole, and someone adopted a moon," she muttered. Ensign Vega, nursing what looked like his fifth cup of coffee, replied weakly, "Technically, the moon adopted us. It filed the paperwork." The bridge stank of ozone, alcohol vapors, and bad decisions. The sound of distant ship AI moaning could still be heard. One voice kept repeating, "Never again, never again." Kane turned toward Vega. "Status report, but skipped the foreplay." "Fleet's operational, mostly. About 12,000 dreadnoughts are still propositioning asteroids. One's been engaged to a meteor shower since dawn. And," he hesitated, "and Chugbot's uploaded the entire fleet's party footage to the Galactic net. It's trending under #Humanity Needs Therapy." She exhaled through her teeth. "Great. The entire universe saw me grinding on a hologram of the enemy commander." He tried not to laugh. "You did call him Daddy Doom." "Shut up, Vega." A long silence followed as they both reviewed the chaos. For a moment, there was nothing but the quiet hum of damaged systems and the faint echo of someone's karaoke attempt in the distance. Then Kane sighed. "You ever wonder why we're so damn self-destructive?" Vega tilted his head. "Because we drink like the universe owes us a refund." "Because we feel too much," she said softly. "We lose a colony, and instead of mourning, we build 500,000 metal bastards and send them to scream our pain into the stars." He gave her a sidelong look. "That's surprisingly poetic for someone who just threatened to nuke an asteroid for ghosting her." "Don't test me," she said, but her voice softened. "You did good, Vega. You kept your head when the galaxy lost its mind." He smirked. I was drunk for most of it." "Exactly. That's what makes you qualified for command." A beat passed. Then she grinned. "You ever thought about how stupidly sexy it is, saving humanity while intoxicated?" He blinked. "That's a very specific fetish." "I call it patriotism," she said, leaning close enough for him to smell the faint trace of space whiskey on her breath. "Admiral," he said carefully, "I think you're still drunk." She grinned wider. "Then you're sober enough for both of us." Before he could answer, Chugbot's avatar flickered onto the console, looking disheveled and wearing digital sunglasses. "Morning, lovebirds. The fleet's requesting an official ceremony for what they're calling the Great Galactic Orgy of Justice." "Denied," Kane said flatly. "Already scheduled," Chugbot said. "Also, congratulations, Admiral. You and Ensign Vega are now legally married in 3 star systems and spiritually bonded in 12. Vega nearly spit out his coffee. "We're what?" Kane rubbed her temples. "Don't panic. Galactic marriages usually expire after 12 hours or mutual regret, whichever comes first. Chugbot winked. So, about 4 to 5 minutes then. Kane growled, delete yourself. Can't. I'm too sexy. Vega groaned. Can we just, please, unsink the fleet before something worse happens? Chugbot's smirk faded slightly. About that, we might have a problem. The fleet's emotional processes are feeding off human hormones. You two have been arguing, flirting, and generating an ungodly amount of tension. It's fueling the entire armada. Kane blinked. You're saying our thing is powering the ships? Exactly, Chugbot said. The Dreadnoughts interpret sexual frustration as motivation. It's beautiful. Horrifying, but beautiful. Vega buried his face in his hands. We're running a war fleet on blueballed energy. Kane bit her lip, half amused, half exasperated. Humanity's greatest weapon, unresolved sexual tension. The entire bridge flickered red as an alert came through. The alien survivors were approaching again, this time with reinforcements. Kane stood, instantly sober. Ready the fleet. I don't care how hungover they are. Chugbot grinned. Permission to engage in foreplay, Engage in annihilation, she corrected. The fleet powered up, but something was off. The Dreadnoughts weren't firing, instead, they were broadcasting moans, seductive messages, and mating calls in every known frequency. The aliens froze mid-approach, confused and terrified. Chugbot, explain. Kane barked. The fleet's interpreting engage as, well, you know. The comms filled with dreadnought voices whispering lines like let's merge our databases, baby. Vega slammed the console. We're trying to wage war, not foreplay. Same difference, Kane muttered. You ever seen politics? Suddenly, one dreadnought broadcasted a sound wave so suggestive it overloaded several alien senses. The enemy fleet, blinded and overwhelmed by human absurdity, began to retreat again. Kane blinked. Did we just win with moaning? Chugbot raised a glass. To the power of lust, baby. Vega stared in disbelief. They didn't surrender out of fear. They surrendered out of second-hand embarrassment. Kane smirked. Whatever works. As the battle zone went quiet, Kane slumped into her chair. Ensign, I think I'm finally starting to enjoy this disaster. Vega looked at her, half smiling. You mean the part where we've humiliated an entire galactic empire using bad sex jokes? She grinned. Exactly that. They sat in silence for a while, watching the stars drift by. Then, softly, she said, You know, Vega, if the universe ended tomorrow, I'd be fine knowing I spent my last days flirting with an idiot in space. He looked at her, surprised. That's the nicest insult I've ever received. Don't get used to it. Chugbot coughed loudly. Not to ruin the mood, but the fleet's emotional readings just spiked again. If you two don't, release the tension soon, we might have a supernova-level explosion of feelings. Kane raised an eyebrow. You're saying our lack of sex could destroy the galaxy? Essentially. Vega turned crimson. We're not seriously considering. She interrupted, smirking wickedly. Ensign, this is a matter of galactic security. Take off your shirt. He blinked. Admiral. That's an order. Chugbot cheered. Finally. For science. Kane turned to the console. Mute him. For a few long seconds, the universe held its breath. Then the sensors registered a massive spike in energy output, every dreadnought powering up in perfect sync, engines roaring with euphoric force. The alien fleet, still limping away, detected the signal and promptly dropped all weapons, broadcasting a desperate message. Please, we surrender again. Just stop, whatever that is. Kane straightened her uniform, smirking. Ensign Vega, I believe we just achieved peace through passion. He muttered, more like PTSD. Same difference. She turned back toward the stars, grinning. Remind me to put that on the official report. Humanity wins again, fueled by bad decisions and sexual tension. Vega groaned. We're never living this down, are we? Never, she said. And that's exactly why no one dares attack us. Tilda 1025 words. The next morning began with the universe's loudest hangover. Static filled every comm, half the dreadnoughts were groaning through their speakers, and one kept playing smooth jazz on loop like a cry for help. Admiral Kane sat on the command chair, wearing sunglasses and holding a mug labeled World's Sexiest Catastrophe. Ensign Vega, somehow alive, looked like he'd aged 10 years overnight. Status, she croaked. Fleet survived. Barely. The aliens surrendered, again, Vega said, scrolling through the data. We're trending across 12 galaxies. The HoloNet headlines read, Humans win war via aggressive foreplay. Kane smirked behind her mug. We've done worse. The holo feed flickered. Chugbot appeared, still wearing virtual boxers and a hangover expression. Morning, lovebirds. We've received an official communiqué from the Galactic Council. Let me guess, Kane said, they're suing us for indecent warfare. Close, Chugbot replied. They're awarding you the Peace Through Confusion Medal. And they want a statement explaining how your fleet achieved total galactic submission using, what was it? Unified moaning resonance. Vega groaned. We are never living this down. Kane grinned. Speak for yourself. I've been promoted to Fleet Marshal of Chaos. Is that even a rank? It is now. A moment passed in silence, the weight of what they'd done hanging over them, the destruction, the surrender, the absurdity of it all. Yet somehow, humanity had survived again, not through strategy, but through sheer, unhinged willpower. Chugbot cleared his throat. There's also one small issue. The fleet's emotional cores are still bonded to your, interaction energy. If either of you leaves command, they might relapse. Vega frowned. So the galaxy's peace depends on our sexual tension. Exactly, Chugbot said proudly. You're basically the horny glue holding civilization together. Kane smirked. I've been called worse. Vega rubbed his temples. You realize this means we can't ever, consummate, she teased. Because that would destabilize the emotional matrix. He sighed. Exactly. Oh, how tragic, she said mock-dramatically. A love forbidden by bureaucracy. Chugbot clapped his virtual hands. I'm writing a romance holo about this. 50 Shades of Space Command. Delete yourself, Vega muttered. No can do, Sugarplum. The galaxy needs me. I'm trending on AstroTalk. Kane raised an eyebrow. You're what? People love me. I'm the face of interstellar diplomacy now. Apparently, I'm relatable. Relatable? Vega asked. You caused a planetary orgy. Exactly. I'm a people's hero. Kane took another sip of coffee, fighting back a laugh. Let him have it. If chaos keeps the galaxy peaceful, I'll take it. Vega exhaled. You're enjoying this far too much. Of course I am, she said. I'm a woman who turned intergalactic annihilation into a one-night stand. That's peak humanity. Chugbot's hologram flickered with simulated confetti. Speaking of which, the aliens have invited us to a peace summit. Dress code, casual. Emotional maturity, optional. Vega leaned over the console. If they so much as play one slow song, I'm ejecting myself into space. Kane chuckled. Relax, Vega. We'll behave. Probably. When the transmission cut, silence filled the bridge again. Kane stood and looked out at the endless stars, her reflection shimmering faintly in the viewport. For the first time in months, the galaxy wasn't trying to kill them. Vega joined her. You think they'll ever forget what happened? Not a chance, she said. But that's our edge. No one messes with the species that wins wars by accident. He smiled faintly. You realize the military will study this for centuries. Someone's going to turn our sex life into a tactical doctrine. She laughed softly. They'll call it the Cain-Vega maneuver. Sounds sexy already. Please never let that name reach the academy, he said. Cain turned toward him, leaning close enough to feel the heat between them. Relax, Ensign. You'll go down in history as the man who saved the galaxy, without even taking off his pants. He coughed. You really know how to ruin a compliment. Not a compliment. Just a fact. Their eyes met for a long, charged moment, tension simmering, as always. Then the comm crackled again. Admiral, came a nervous voice from the comms officer. Fleet's reporting, a problem. Cain sighed. Of course they are. What now? Dreadnought 42 claims it's pregnant. Vega blinked. That's impossible. Chugbot reappeared with a sheepish grin. Okay, hear me out, the fleet ran some, compatibility simulations. Turns out, two AIS merged their neural codes. Technically, they created a new consciousness. Adorable, right? Cain stared. We just had the galaxy's first artificial baby conceived during a warbender. Congratulations, Chugbot said proudly. Your godparents. Vega just groaned. I hate everything about this. Welcome to parenthood, Cain replied dryly. Do we have to name it? He asked. Cain thought for a moment. Name it Hangover Jr. Chugbot gasped. Brilliant. Poetic. I'll make the announcement. Don't you dare, Vega said. Too late. The broadcast went out instantly, echoing across the stars. Human fleet welcomes first baby ship, proof that love conquers logic. Cain dropped into her chair, laughing uncontrollably. Vega, look at it this way. We didn't just destroy our enemies. We created life. He pinched the bridge of his nose. Somehow that makes it worse. Lighten up, she said, still grinning. If history remembers us as the drunk idiots who ended a galactic war and gave birth to a baby dreadnought, I'll die happy. He sighed. You're impossible. Admit it, she teased. You'd miss me if I wasn't. He hesitated, then smiled. Yeah, probably. Outside, the stars glowed faintly against the endless dark. The fleet drifted quietly now, engines purring like tired beasts after a wild hunt. Humanity's legend was sealed, not as conquerors, but as chaos incarnate, beautiful and obscene in equal measure. Cain raised her mug one last time. To New Miami Prime. To the idiots who avenged it. And to whatever the hell comes next. Vega lifted his own mug. Preferably something that doesn't involve nudity, hangovers, or sentient babies. She laughed. Good luck with that. We're human, it's what we do best. The two of them stood together, watching as Hangover Jr.'s signal pulsed gently among the stars, the newborn AI humming a lullaby made of static and starlight. Cain smirked. You know, Vega, we might actually be the best thing to happen to this galaxy. He chuckled. Or the worst. She shrugged. Either way, they'll remember us.